Welcome back. This is another installment for the baseball arena. So if you weren't able to watch the previous video stating travel ball and its affiliates, please watch that video before this one. If you are a family involved anywhere within baseball, okay, so if you're just the novice person getting your kid at even 4 to 6 years old getting into t-ball, or if you're starting to look at options getting into travel ball or entering into the Little League series, even to students getting into high school and college, this information is pertinent to you. Every level of baseball needs to have evaluations to basically state where your talent level is and your level of commitment that's needed to be there. You can turn to the organizations you might be affiliated with. You can also look up the standards, the national standards of where competition is within our youth. If you're into the high school and college level, there's already programs set up to track your improvements or your performance level. But within youth sports and that 13 to 14-year-olds or younger, there isn't anything stating what you are expected to do. Okay, that is something that each individual family has to deal with. And I can tell you after coaching for quite a few years now that the issue of burnout is not only within the players, it's also within the managing organizations and coaches. Families get sick of it fairly fast. Well, as a community, we're all supposed to get together for the love of the game of baseball. It is the adults, the parents, the boards, the managing directors that really destroy things for a lot of kids. They're not being honest. So hopefully today's instruction will allow you to a little bit get a better picture of where your performance level is actually at. Now, here I'm located in the state of Wisconsin. So this might be a little different for each location that you're in. Wisconsin has an independent evaluation process. The Milwaukee Brewers organization is affiliated with a hit, pitch, and run organization. So even private entities or individuals can carry out a hit, pitch, and run evaluation. Typically, either college teams or high school teams get the players together to do and carry out the actual evaluations. I recommend every player, no matter what age, to get an independent evaluations away from their affiliated organization that they would wish to play for or already have played for. Because organizations will show favoritism, okay, there's an unbiased opinion through third parties. Even to the point where if you turn to a private agency, say it's a former college coach or a college player that is doing a side job or full-time private lesson type thing, they might even be influenced with your evaluation based off of how much you pay or how hard they are up for getting customers. So please turn to an organization that, yes, you have to pay to do the hit, pitch, and run, but it's not affiliated. That money is not going directly into the individuals doing the evaluations. Okay, they're not dependent on whether they please you or not. They're going to give you the honest opinion. Now, hit, pitch, and run uses basically 3 to 4 tests to evaluate a player, and all of those tests are based off the offensive side of things. So as a baseball player, your hitting, your running, and your throwing aspects are taken into consideration. Your defensive side, whether you can catch a ground ball, or if you can catch a fly ball in the outfield, that's not necessarily included with the test. So this is a partial evaluation that you can use. Now within hit, pitch, and run, as the name states, each offensive category gains additional points. The hitting portion of the evaluation doesn't give you a whole lot of points on your performance. So even if I'm just going to use like 8U standards as a as a comparison. If you have an 8U player that is given 5 chances to hit the ball as far as they possibly can, the field dimensions are divided into 5 sections. So the 5th section is 200 feet and beyond. So if you have an all-star stud that's hitting home runs consistently, even at that 200 or home run distance, it's only worth 5 points. Okay, 5 points for each hit at that distance. You get 5 deliveries or 5 off the tee hits, and your distance from 1 to 5 is calculated and added into your total score. For the pitch, it's 10 pitches, and they'll have basically a strike zone plate the individuals deliver the ball from according to their age, so anywhere from 37 to 60 feet, if they can hit that plate. For every hit within the zone, that's also 5 points. So maxing out both of those categories, you can collect 50 points at that time. The run test, basically from home plate to the distance of first base according to their age, counts for the largest portion of the evaluation. A player that, again, at you, they should be able to run from home plate to first base in approximately 4 seconds for an elite score. So for a 4-second run in that distance, it equates to 100 points. If you're 4.5 seconds, it's only 50 points. So the run, the athletic ability of running, accounts for more within a score than either hitting or pitching. So again, they get 3 chances, they average out to 3 different tests, and it calculates points based off of where they fall within that timeline. So anywhere from 3.5 seconds to 6 seconds, wherever your player might fall into, every quarter second gives you an additional group of points. So for instance, a 4.5 second run is going to be average. So you're only going to get 50 points. If you're covering it in 4 seconds, you're going to get the 100. Okay. When you get your results from your final test scores through the hit, pitch, and run, a player between the numbers of 500 to 750 is considered to be above average. 500 or 499 and below is below average. From an independent study based off of this time or these scores. If you have a player that can achieve in that 5 to 750, 750 being absolutely World Series level within youth sports, that 8 to 12-year-old range, if you're achieving 750 in one single event, you are a stud. Okay, there's no question about it. If you're between 500 and 750, you're above average. And that's what most teams are actually looking for. If you're below 500, I recommend that you research and try to find private training lessons. Okay? Be realistic. If your goal is to fit into travel ball or any kind of elite baseball competition, no matter what age level you're at, take the third-party independent evaluation numbers seriously. Now, again, this doesn't cover the defensive side of things. This is just the offensive side. Sorry, mosquitoes get me here. Now, even within that private evaluations or a third-party evaluations, the hit, pitch, and run will allow you to attend multiple different tests. So the hit, pitch, and run is put on by multiple different organizations or individuals throughout Wisconsin. You can attend up to 5 in a year. There's basically no limitation. They compound all of your players' performance numbers, and they calculate and add them together for each different result. And you are then put on the registry for hit, pitch, and run for the Milwaukee Brewers organization. So if you see numbers of 1,000 or more, those individuals did not just participate in one hit, pitch, and run event. It was an accumulation of points between all of the events they participated in. So if you want to do the most accurate evaluations of your player, attend multiple different hit, pitch, and runs. Allowing multiple third parties to give you that second opinion, basically, within the medical field. Getting the most accurate numbers. Adding them all together and divide it by how many events you attended. That will give you the most accurate assessment of where your player's at. Then you can take those numbers and transfer them over, as stated in the previous video, all the different levels of baseball, whether that's Little League, Community Little League to Community Little League All-Star type travel teams to dedicated Babe Ruth or Cal Ripken teams. You will have the best benefit of knowing where your player fits in. And you're not going to give the organizations the opportunity to take advantage of you. If your player has those independent numbers calculated and you can compare it to the statistics or the performance within the organization, you can predetermine where your player fits in the most. Or at the end of the season, you can see if they've actually improved, if you've gotten your money's worth. Now remember that as kids grow and as they age every year to year, there should be a natural improvement just from their experience and growth. Being able to calculate that differently, you again can follow up the following year and go through the exact same evaluations to see the improvement you had from the year previously in the third party independent evaluations. You don't have to depend on the organizations to tell you your players improved. Well, every player should improve with age and capability and experience. But is the improvement actually given credit to the coaching staff or the organization? The independent study will be able to tell you that. How much more does it cost you to be in the organization? Are you getting your money's worth? Youth sports is a money grab. In the previous video, I mentioned all the different levels of baseball. There are some that promise you all kinds of hopes and dreams and guaranteed placement within high school teams, or even to the point where some will promise, hey, if you stick with us all the way through 18U, we will give you your transcript and take you to these showcases. Well, you'll get noticed by Division I colleges or even by the Major League Baseball organization. Folks, if you hear that, even if you decide to take your player to those private companies or select companies, you can track their performance level and determine whether or not it's worth it or not. The money that they're charging. As I stated in a previous video, travel teams can cost anywhere from $100 to over $20,000. It can incorporate maybe 2 or 3 tournaments during a season to the point where they're playing every other weekend year round. Well, they'll play 80 or plus games a year. What are you getting for the registration and cost fees into it? Or are you just contributing to the tourism dollars that a lot of these communities depend on? Stop being the consumer and contributor to these events if you're only being taken advantage of. We have to do this as a baseball community. Now, all of this is stemming down to what's going to occur this winter. Youth sports is not directly dictated by Major League Baseball, the pros. But we have seen even in the pros, when they are not regulating baseball teams and their salaries, teams can stack themselves because they have unlimited salaries. You have the farm teams that could just attract, and they're getting, they're using independent evaluation units for the players they're scoping out. Take my word for it. College and Major League Baseball scouts are aware of youth players. They're aware of them. It might not take the priority list within their notice, but they know which players in different organizations they need to kind of keep in the back of their mind and be like, oh, I need to check up on this player in a year from now or maybe 2 years from now. Okay. They're going to keep a tally of that. They do. I promise you. Word travels fast. And organizations that are associated with Cal Ripken or Babe Ruth, because they're part of the larger conglomerate, the larger organization, the coaching staff or the board members within that organization, they know player names prior to when they might be introduced at the high school level. There's a reputation that follows the players. Getting an independent evaluation will give you the most honest result of the capabilities of your player. It's that simple. Hit pitcher around here in Wisconsin and associated with the Milwaukee Brewers, you can find the offensive side. It doesn't tell you the defensive side. You can then pay other individuals, other third parties, to carry out the defensive side of things, or a combined effort between both assessments. Being honest and gathering the most information you can from independent evaluators will remove any doubt you might have as a parent. You'll also be able to have the questions raised when you join an organization or follow up with an organization, what you should be expecting from it. Take what you possibly can from the game. But all these organizations are promising you something in return for your registration or fees. Make sure they're living up to it. There are so many organizations across the United States that are nothing but businesses trying to attract customers, and they're not living up to the promises. Be aware of that. Do your own evaluations outside of that so it's not influenced or a biased opinion. That's the best that you can do for your players and the best that you can do for your family. Because once again, when you register a player for baseball, it is not just the player being involved. Majority, 90% of baseball organizations in youth sports is volunteer work. And the families are required to contribute. Whether it's through concessions, raffles, scorekeeping, uniform organization, dugout managers, running game changer. It's a very involved sport. If you don't want to or have the ability to dedicate that time or funds, you need to be realistic and keep it down to the point where even with your talent level, you're restricted to maybe some recreational or community ball. But understand that that's the case, that you're the restriction, not the talent. So with that, be aware of burnout. It only takes one bad organization, one bad coach to destroy the entire future of a baseball athlete. Do your research ahead of time and you'll thank me later. Trust me from experience. Have a good one.